I'm going to call to order the public work session. I'm just going to remind everybody, all the board members, we've had some concerns about people not being able to hear online who are watching the live stream, and also people in the audience. So please make sure you speak directly into the microphone so that everybody can hear you clearly. So for the work session, we had time allocated for the board to discuss or get any questions answered as it is concerning the Hawthorne proposal. So does the board have any questions or any concerns that we need to discuss right now?
Are we in a work session? Or
Yes, this is the work session. This will. So if there is none, we can move right into the board meeting.
What time is it?
But
It's not 7.
you can't do it till 7.
I know we can take a break, Doug, but I'm just saying. Okay, so we will recess or in the public work session, and we'll start the board meeting at 7 o'clock.
Get out of it.
If everybody wants to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Get out of it because he already had his pre-planned thing.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Doug, what did Melissa say? What did
the
Melissa?
Elkhart Promise. Every student is known by name, challenged, and supported by highly effective staff, and in partnership with the community will graduate college, career, and life ready. If you would like to speak, our protocol is that you fill out a form. That form has your name, address, and relationship to the district. At the end of the meeting, you will get 3 minutes to speak. So, Dora, where are the sheets at today? Okay. So if you fill out those sheets, you'll have 3 minutes to speak at the end of the meeting. Is there a moment of pride?
For this evening, we had a moment of pride scheduled with our superintendent student advisory group, but because of spring break, there was a complication with that. So I've asked the board president, in light of that, to allow me to share at a more prominent place in the agenda some of the work that we're doing regarding bullying. I had prepared these comments to share at the very end of the meeting under my comments at the end, but I thought it would be important to let people know what we've been doing in our anti-bullying efforts over the last few weeks. So first of all, our liability insurance carrier, Liberty Mutual, has had their risk control services do a high-level overview of our policies and practices. And they shared with us the Friday right before break that they, quote, found many of our components of our bullying prevention program align with best practices identified by multiple national resources. Their suggestion is for us to audit various aspects of those processes and to conduct student, parent, and staff surveys on what we can do to be more effective and consistent in the application of those policies. We intend to conduct those surveys along with spot checks of our protocols, and we've had a conversation with the board about contracting with an outside agency to come and audit what we're doing in those processes. So a third party outside can come tell us where we're doing well, where we can do better. Overall, what we're finding is that we need to make sure that anti-bullying efforts are ongoing because there is no end date for bullying prevention. While students are talked to about bullying at the beginning of the school year and provided information about how to report bullying and the Springio system, we need to ensure that we maintain a see something, say something culture at all times within the district year-round, where it is ingrained in our students what behaviors are not acceptable and that it is okay to report what is happening to them or to their peers. Going forward, we will do the following things. Conduct bullying prevention and notification training with students multiple times a year, particularly at the beginning of the year and when returning after winter break. We'll clearly document that we have trained staff on the Oveus Bullying Prevention Program per our policy 5517.01, and we'll make sure that we're including new staff as part of our orientation, and as we rely more and more on substitute teachers, that we do that training with our substitute teaching staff as well. We want to make sure that staff who are responsible for following up on bullying incidents that are reported follow our how-to manual for bullying investigation. We intend to establish a safe school team that will be made up of a person from each building who will be the go-to person and the face of anti-bullying measures within the school. They will coordinate activities at the site, help make sure that people know how to report and what happens in the case of an incident being reported. We want to also make sure that we're integrating Oveus and Move to Stand. Move to Stand is a peer-based program to support students that had been in place, and we had many events and annual summits that took place prior to the pandemic, and we want to make sure that we bring those back. And we want to provide education on what bullying is to parents, along with prevention and strategies to prevent it. Currently, our middle and high schools are forming or bringing together positive student groups like anti-bullying clubs. I had an email exchange with a father whose son was interested in starting one of these clubs. If there are students that have not been approached about doing this or have this idea, please go to your middle school principal or assistant principal or to your building principal and have those conversations about starting those clubs. We've been encouraging those to happen. Working on our messaging for student groups and how to communicate better with parents. Following up on the success of our recent parent forum that we conducted here a couple Saturdays ago, the Student Services Department is looking at a parent event later this month that would present on the definition of bullying and what that looks like and how the community can collaborate to reduce its occurrence. Knowing that a great deal of bullying occurs online, our instructional leadership team and our tech services team are working on modules covering social media, digital footprints, online honesty, and privacy that students will be trained on during the first weeks of school in the fall so that we're sure that we're dealing with that digital literacy piece. As I have stated before, knowing students are more vulnerable emotionally and socially at this time, we are also looking to add in a risk assessment to any student who reports bullying, as well as to potentially include a risk assessment of the student accused of bullying, because we know that often those actions may indicate an underlying issue just as much for the bullying student as it is for the student being bullied. Finally, I just wanted to take this opportunity to update the board and the public about our work in these weeks prior to spring break reassuring you that the district team and I are doing, as I have said previously, that we're holding up the mirror and looking at our policies and practices to see what we can be doing better. Our plan going forward is built on the pillars of helping people define and report bullying, prepare staff to deal with it effectively, and engage parents in the process.
Okay, the next agenda item is consent items. Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Reading off the donation.
Kelly, can you talk into the mic, please?
Reading off the donations that we received $5,472 and a generator estimated at $618 to be donated to our motorcycle outdoor power technology classes, which was donated by Cummins Onan of Elkhart. And then we received $37,500 from Thor Industries for the ETI building. For the music department, Kay Ireland donated one Nippon it's a full-size violin, and bow with no serial number, and one Schroeder 16 viola and bow to the music department of Elkhart Community Schools. Quinlan and Fabish did an examination, and they did a fair market value of $450 for the violin and $500 for the viola. And then we received $1,000 to be given to the softball team from Phyllis Tubbs. And then the athletic department received from the Windy family $6,470 for the basketball program. So once again, our community pulled through for our schools. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Under new business, we have the Hawthorne repurposing proposal.
The administration requests board action to repurpose Hawthorne Elementary from a K-6 building to a pre-K center and to implement a redistricting of attendance boundaries as presented in the board packet, and to evaluate the pre-K location as part of the upcoming feasibility study.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
So at this time, we are going to allow public comment. So if anybody wants to make a comment, because this is an action that we're going to take tonight, you are able to do so. We'll just go up to the mic. You'll have 3 minutes to talk if anybody wants to make any comment. Can you come up to the mic?
Dorio. My attachment to the school district is I represent, as a state senator, everything south of the St. Joe River in this district. I did not understand the motion. To repeat the motion?
So the motion is to repurpose Hawthorne Elementary from a K-6 building to a pre-K center and to redistrict the students, to redistribute those students to their new schools, according to what was in the board packet, and then to evaluate this pre-K location as part of the greater feasibility study that's being conducted in the coming months.
Okay, may I comment?
Go ahead.
Okay. Being in the General Assembly for 6 years now, this has been the most, the largest group has contacted me about not being able to talk about this school closure. Repurposing school closure is the same thing. And I talked to the superintendent, and I thank him for his time the other day. I feel that the messaging and the way this has been done has not involved the parents enough. I also feel that the way it's been done is causing you to lose teachers. I understand that 4 teachers have turned in their resignations. and are going to look for other jobs elsewhere, I think this could have been done a little bit easier. I understand the stress you're under. I understand the number of seats that are empty. But when you look at the fact that you're going to have a study done, you're going to be moving children to different districts. And that study, from what I have saw, just looking at the numbers, is probably going to say you're going to have to close another school. So part of what I was worried about, and I expressed that to the superintendent in our phone call, was that some of these students could be required to be moved twice to different schools in 1 year, 2 years, something like that. So I understand the ability that you probably don't have enough teachers to continue now, especially after those that have left. But I think that we really need to figure out a way to wait till the end of the study. I guess those are my comments, and I'm very concerned about how this whole process has gone on. So, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anybody else that would like to make a public comment?
Hello, Jason Moreno. Do I need to give any other information, the address or?
No, that's
Used to
good.
city council
That's good,
meetings.
Jason.
Okay. I too was brought here by a group of concerned citizens who reached out to me to let me know that they wanted it to be heard that they are concerned about the communication process leading up to this decision and the vote that is on the table tonight. Having minimal time to review the concerns, I have had this on my periphery, my wife being a teacher at Munger, of course. I think this is moving very fast. I think the decision to keep the school is good for a multitude of reasons, but the capacity is going to create a very large ripple effect. The Munger alone is going to lose 40 of their students in a transfer and a redistricting. These students love their school. You're not only punishing Hawthorne students, you're punishing families at other schools who've established relationships with their teachers by doing this. Most importantly, I think it needs to be exhausted that the leadership in this community who's come here today and asked me to speak on their behalf be recognized for their services to the school system as former teachers and educators as well. They have a good input and insight for this. Their children and grandchildren now go there. My child is enrolled now, Elkhart Community Schools, for next year. And I have a grandchild on the way, and that grandchild will probably be enrolled in Elkhart Community Schools. So we want to have a little bit of stability here. A larger overarching theme that I feel has not been thought about is the South Side as a whole and how that can be used for quick and easy fixes and has historically been done. The Oldery School was one example of that. But in general, if you're speaking about the socioeconomics of that neighborhood with the high minority rates, the legislation that's passed over the last 50 years to break up families and create instability, which manifests in housing instability, which is why 75% of those homes are rentals and not owner-occupied homes. We're contributing to instability by moving students around that entire side of town. It's just another arc on a trajectory of slights that this neighborhood and this community has suffered. And I think we would be in a good position to take a good pause and stop and spend some more time on this. There's no rush. There's nothing that says we can't do this in a month or two, and really open up these doors and lines of communication to this community. I know there were 4 meetings scheduled. One got canceled because of snow, but that didn't get rescheduled. Things like that kind of leave a bad taste in people's mouths if they aren't able to hit the other ones. So I encourage you all to continue to leave this tabled, exhaust all communication options, and then move forward with a decision that best affects the people that support this school system. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak from the audience?
Okay. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, good evening. My name is Patricia Garcia Stiles, and I'm here in representation of the Elkhart community. I am I am, oh my gosh, I don't know what this. Okay, I am here because Raquel Cortez, which is a person that is being really involved in the situation with the Hawthorne closing. So I'm trying to be the liaison between the community and the Elkhart board and this decision. Problem is that the way that we see it is the decision has been made since June, which this situation started to be presented to the community, to the parents of the school. Of course, I talked with some of you, members of the board, and you said you were going to give me or give us the opportunity to come together, which that didn't happen. I know you're going to say, yes, we did, but I'm just going to say it out loud. Mr. Dr. Thalheimer was nice enough to send us an email, but with a time frame that it was just like unbelievable, right? He said, I'm going to be out for the rest of the afternoon, and then I'm going to be available till April 11, which was yesterday. So when are we supposed to meet with you? When was you supposed to listen to us? And the problem is that we haven't been heard. I went out to Hawthorne yesterday, and I took the time to talk with several parents. They are really sad, and the damage is being done. That's why we couldn't come together, because the very first time that you presented this idea for the community, for the school, the parents of the school, it was presented that it's already done. You know, you have nothing to do with it. Actually, I was told, but several parents are here, when they say, what is that we need to do so the school won't be closed, at least now, because they understand that if it needs to be closed, well, you know, we will do it. We will support that. But give us the chance to do something, which we didn't get that chance. Even to talk, the time that you gave us wasn't enough. And I said the damage was done because a lot of parents, what I talk with, they already said, you know, why do you want us to go and talk to them? This is a joke. That's what the community feels. And this is really sad because as far as I know, the community picked you to represent us. So that representation is not here at all, with all due respect. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to make a comment?
Un comentario que quiero hacer.
Comment that I'd like to
¿Qué
a comment I'd like to make.
qué les hace pensar a ustedes que cerrar la escuela va a ser positivo para los niños?
What makes you think that closing the school is going to be a positive move for the children if
Si hace unos años atrás,
a couple of years back,
yo estuve haciendo mi investigación, ya habían cerrado Hawthorne el año escolar de cuarto a sexto, lo habían movido y habían dejado Hawthorne de primero a tercero.
I did my research and a while back, Hawthorne had been closed and de cuarto a sexto grado?
Sí, de cuarto
And fourth through sixth grade students were not at Hawthorne. It was a kindergarten through third grade
to
school.
third grade, sí. Y no les resultó.
And it didn't work
Tuvieron
out.
que poner otra vez todos los estudiantes y reabrir la escuela nuevamente.
The students had to be returned to Hawthorne and the school had to become a K-6 building again.
Mi segundo comentario es que ustedes están tomando la decisión sin tomarnos en cuenta.
My second comment is that you are making the decision without listening to us.
Yo tengo 3 hijos en la escuela.
I have 3 children at the school.
Hasta ahorita mis hijos están tristes
Up to this point, my children are very sad.
Y no solamente ellos, sino he preguntado a muchas familias, he visto los hijos de muchas familias y maestros,
And not only them, but I've seen other children and other families and teachers.
están tristes
They are sad
porque en esa escuela, en todos los años que yo he tenido a mis hijos, son como una familia. Todos se conocen y todos saben cómo tratar a los niños.
because all the years that I've had my children at the school, they know they become a family, they've become a family, and they know how to treat the children.
¿Qué les hace pensar a ustedes que moviéndolos a otra escuela de más bajo nivel académico, porque ya hice mi investigación también,
What makes you think that moving them to a different school that has a lower educational status,
pueden ellos mejorar y salir adelante?
they're going to be able to improve and be successful?
Tengo un niño con educación especial
I have a special education child
que apenas él se abrió a los maestros de Hawthorne
that just began to open up to the Hawthorne teachers,
y está aprendiendo.
and he is learning.
¿Y ustedes creen que para esa criatura que apenas conoce a los maestros y que él abrió su corazón a las maestras para poder aprender a expresarse,
And you think that this child that is now opening up to those teachers and has began to express himself to them,
van a llegar a una escuela nueva donde ni siquiera saben cómo tratarlo?
he's going to arrive at a different school where they're not going to know how to treat him or handle him?
¿Creen que es positivo?
Do you think that's something positive?
Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment?
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Tania Cruz.
Hello, good evening. My name is Tanya Cruz.
Tengo dos hijos.
I have two children.
Mi primer hijo salió de la escuela Hawthorne School.
My first child was at Hawthorne.
Mi hijo es High Ability.
My child is high ability.
Aquí está su maestra, Miss Carr.
His teacher is here, Miss Carr.
Mi hijo se encuentra ahorita en Pierre Morin y es High Ability.
My child is now at Pierre Morin, and he is still high ability.
Tengo otra hija y es alta habilidad. Está en quinto grado. Mi hija es Gabriela Castillo.
My daughter, Gabriela Castillo, is in 5th grade, and she's also high ability.
Mi pregunta es,
My question is,
ya ahorita tengo 2 días
right now, for the past 2 days,
mi hija no tiene maestro.
my child does not have a teacher.
Yo vine a Elkhart Community School
I came to Elkhart Community Schools,
y me dijeron que no me preocupara, que ustedes iban a solucionar eso.
and I was told not to worry because there was going to be a solution.
En este momento, mi pregunta es,
At this time, my question is,
¿dónde va a estar mi hija?
where is my daughter going to be?
Me prometieron algo y no me lo han cumplido.
You promised me something and you have not met your promise.
¿Y qué va a pasar después?
And what's going to happen after?
¿Para dónde va mi hija?
Where's my daughter going to go?
Están prometiendo algo
You are making promises
para mejorar
to improve,
y no está mejorando.
and it's not improving.
La van a sacar de su área donde ella está bien por este momento.
You're going to remove her from the area where she's fine at this time.
¿Qué va a pasar después?
What's going to happen afterwards?
También
Also,
yo he hablado con muchas madres
I've spoken to many mothers,
y mucha gente no sabe de que esto está pasando, que iban a cerrar la escuela totalmente, que ya estaba la decisión, piensa la gente.
many people weren't aware that that this was happening, that the school was going to close, that the decision had been made.
No entiendo todavía qué está pasando.
I still don't understand what's happening.
Ahorita dieron la opinión de que ya están hablando de que ya no es una escuela, es para algo más. ¿Y qué está pasando?
Right now, the comment was made that the school will be closing, so what's happening?
Gracias.
Thank you.
I'm Mrs. Carr. I'm the teacher she was just talking about. All I have to say is that one of my students right now, he took the algebra readiness test and he scored the highest ever in Elkhart Community Schools since it's been given. And that's one of my students at Hawthorne for the high ability program.
Hi, this is Ashley Box and Christopher. Sorry. Christopher no longer goes to school. He is K-12 due to bullying. His pants were pulled down twice. I was told this was a game that kids play.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We're only taking comments about the Hawthorne repurposing. You are more than happy to make those comments, but at the end of the board meeting.
Okay, I was not aware of that. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Exactly.
Yes, ma'am, we will at the end. They will have the opportunity to talk. Does anybody else have any comments about the Hawthorne repurposing proposal? Okay, thank everybody for your comments. Does the board have any comments to make about the proposal?
I'll start. Yeah, I do. I want to thank everybody who spoke. All of you have raised questions and concerns that I have had and I have raised, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate you being here and speaking. I think it's important to remember that schools no longer operate in a monopoly. Parents decide where their kids will go to school. They have a choice. How we engage parents is paramount to being able to retain and attract our students. Building relationships and partnerships with parents is just as important as building relationships with our students. The process of how this is done is just as important as the why. By engaging parents in difficult conversations and situations, giving them a seat at the table to be a part of those discussions, creating a dialogue with them, wanting them to be a part of the process and the solution builds goodwill, transparency, and trust with the community. It says, we need your help. We value your insights, your thoughts, and your perspectives. It shows that the district cares about what the parents think and want to come up with the best plans possible in difficult situations together. And we didn't do this. And, there's a huge level of distrust in this community. And this district earned that distrust. And we need to get it back. A lot has been said. There are a lot of decisions that this district is faced with. We have a capacity issue. When you have a school district as large as this and has slots for 4,000 to 6,000 students that aren't filled, and 2,286 transfer students that aren't here, that have chosen to go elsewhere, as a board, as an administration team, we have got to start dealing with the whys of why that is happening. There is a significant cost in those numbers. We are finding ourselves in a situation like many school districts across the country, across the state, and locally are finding themselves in. We have a teacher shortage. We have a bus driver shortage. Companies around the country and locally have worker shortages. And because of that, the people who are suffering the most are our students and our kids. And why I wished that this would have played out differently than it has, and I am sorry for that, and I hope in the months to come, as the RFP comes back and we get some insights and some better perspectives, that we as an administration team and a board will do things differently. But at the end of the day, the bottom line is our kids need to get an education and they need to have a teacher in their classroom. And that's what our priority has to be. I know things have not turned out the way people had hoped or wanted. I appreciate the attachment to the schools that are involved. I know it's difficult. All I ask is that you work with us as a community. We are a community school district. It is going to take this entire community working together to get this school system turned around and back on its feet. And all I ask is that you work with us. We've made mistakes. I know I've made mistakes. None of us are perfect, but we all have a passion for our district and our kids, and we want to make this district strong again. And we can't do it without your help.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and also for those of you who chose to speak. I will be voting no on the closure of Hawthorne Elementary School. And the repurposing into a pre-K center. I will also be voting no on the redistricting of the attendance boundaries. My reasons for voting no are as follows. Abuse of the protocol and policy described in Board Policy 0166 concerning the issuance of agendas for the March 31st special meeting. Failure to submit an agenda. There was no official agenda, only topics only. Meeting agenda was not posted at the entrance at the meeting location at the doors, as should have been done. Board Policy 0166 requires, and I quote, "There will be a time for public participation at the end of the board meeting." There's not a lot of distinction between a regular board meeting and a special meeting. So we should have allowed for public comment. Regarding the topics from March 31st, the Thursday evening that we were here last, item number 2, the district-wide survey audit will not be available till sometime in 2023. Therefore, 2023 becomes the appropriate time to consider Hawthorne. Item number 6, community engagement plan is a process that needs to be done before all major decisions, not after, like the closure of Hawthorne is being handled. I have some more on this later. Item number 10, charter school potential was not thoroughly vetted by visiting other successful and non-successful public school that had opened and operated their own charter schools. A Hispanic magnet school was discounted and not thoroughly vetted by visiting other successful magnet schools and reporting back. Item number 14, teacher shortage implications was already a significant problem that was exacerbated by the hasty plans and actions of the administration. At the last meeting, there were 5 volunteers to offer input. I wonder, was the first meeting ever held? And I think not. And If so, what was the input from the community volunteers? The next item, the Hispanic community surrounding Hawthorne is the largest and growing demographic, and their impact on Elkhart schools 10 years from now should not be underestimated, discounted, or taken for granted. And this is my last item, and it's a lengthy one, but it needs to be said, and it follows up to somewhat Ann was saying. In the board policy handbook, which is this book right here, page 29, it was written by some people that were a lot smarter than me, let's put it that way. And anyhow, and it describes a simple process that would have averted a major community issue surrounding lack of consent of the governed, which I will define for you and read from the handbook, page 29, on how to obtain consent of the governed.
Here.
I got it. I just have to wet my finger here. There we go. The definition of consent of the governed is a phrase from the United States Declaration of Independence. It is synonymous with a political theory wherein the government's legitimacy and moral right to use state power is only justified and legal when derived from the people or society over which that political power is exercised. That is you folks in the audience out there. Okay. Page 29 addresses this on how to handle consent of the governed. The Effective School Community Relations Program is a continuing project that includes explaining the schools and the community, obtaining the reactions of the community to the schools, informing the community about the goals and objectives of the schools, advising the community of the needs of the schools, and promoting a better understanding between the schools and the community. To a considerable extent, the community's attitude towards the schools will impact the long-range effectiveness of the schools and their programs. At different times, now here's something that we really did not do. At different times, the school board may deem it advisable to call upon a group of citizens to serve as an advisory committee on certain matters confronting the school board. Advisory committees have served a very useful functions in many instances. Committee activities should be a result of in additional experience and consideration being given to a problem and a better understanding of the community issues through citizen involvement. When citizens committees are used, two important considerations should be understood. The first is that recommendations of the committee are merely advisory. The school board retains the right and the responsibility for making final decisions. The second consideration is that such a committee should be temporary, perform a specific function, and then be disbanded. When the committee continues over a long period of time and attempts to examine multiple issues, the committee may attempt to dictate and seize the authority of the school board. Citizens advisory committees can serve worthwhile functions when the school board and the community understand the role to be played by the committee. And thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Does any other board members want to make any comments?
So usually I'm the chatty one, but tonight I'm the blessed one to be in between two very wise people that I respect very much so. And, you know, Ann said it best that, you know, we have a lot of things inside of our school that we need to change, and it's clearly obvious. We have staffing issues, we have morale issues, we have leadership issues, we have discipline issues, and it goes on and on. At the end of the day, she's right. The number one thing that we need to focus on are our students and what their academics are. And I said it before, so this is no, you know, I said it at the Thursday meeting that Hawthorne is going to eventually close itself because the teachers are leaving, because they were told of a process that didn't follow through. First, they had 4 choices, then they had 2 choices, then they had different. And so to say that the school board putting a pause on a conversation because each of us had different things that we wanted follow through. My number one thing, and I said it that Thursday night, I've said it over and over again, Doug handed 5 names over in order for me to make a well-rounded decision, because I am at large and I am voted on by the constituents of this community, and I owe it, as it says right here in the back of this paper that Doug was reading, school board members have a majority responsibility to ensure that the public is informed. That is my job. That is my right. I was voted on to do what was right by the constituents of the school system that provide the students that go to our school system that we serve. And when we're not doing that fair and just, we are not making the right decision. So did we ever have the meeting with the partners?
I sent that out, was out of town during break, said I could immediately meet after I got back from break. And
so we originally had 30 days. We took it down to 15 days. Then we put them on the cusp of, and they very openly spoken that they all work jobs. Some of the mothers work 3rd shifts so that their husbands can be home with their children, that takes care of their babysitters. So we left them as at April 11th with their opportunity to voice their opinion.
well, it was an invitation through an email saying that I would meet at any time.
Okay,
And-
so we didn't though.
Well,
We didn't
I
meet with
didn't
them.
have the meeting
Okay,
because
we didn't have the
would've
meeting,
been-
okay. So I'm already, and was a no, before this, and the main reason I want to tell you that I am a no is because I believe the students need the education, yes. And I don't know with this plan that they're going to get it or not, because to be honest with you, I don't find this to be a very concrete plan. I don't at all. We're moving students that we never knew about. We're changing districting that we never knew about. Jason said it best. We have students leaving Monger that never even knew they were involved. We didn't give the principal of that school system the opportunity to communicate. We have students that have no idea where they are going or if they're even moving. We have a community that speaks, that has a language barrier, that has, we don't all do things the same way. We're not all social media. We're not all this. We're not all that. And that's why the value of the community meeting with the Hispanic, constituents, our parents of our students was so very important. They don't know what's going on. And I can't partake as a school board member in saying that we're going to repurpose a school with a pre-K when we still don't have an effective plan there, and say that this is okay. So based on what Doug said, I feel like how we handled this in my terms, shady, and I will participate in it.
Is there any other comments by the board?
Where you gonna go? Go.
No.
Oh, okay. So I found myself to be exactly opposite of where I thought I would be when I started this process. And I am one of those people that sat in on the very first meeting, and as well as all of the meetings I could possibly take myself to and belong to. As long as I was available, I was there. Staff meetings besides the ones in the building at Hawthorne, staff meetings of all the principals involved on several occasions. There's been a lot of community meetings that I sat in on to make sure that I was hearing those people that had attended those meetings. I've been entrenched in this Southside community for decades, probably more than 30 years. I guess we've only been here about 35 years. And I care deeply about the students and our parents and our teachers and all of those that will be affected by this. I have had to take the eyes of my heart and see what it would look like to look into the eyes of our students and tell them that nothing's going to change, that we have a building that is not fully staffed with teachers,
And we're not going to do anything different. We're going to try our best to do something different, but big things are what is required in dire straits. And one of the big things that's going to happen in order for us to be able to get enough teachers to lower the number of students in each classroom so that students can learn and so that parents have a chance so that teachers have a chance to reach each and every one of these students. We absolutely are going to have to make some changes, and they need to be big. I cannot look into the eyes of these students and tell them that you get to stay the exact same and we're going to expect a different result. There are great teachers with great results in individuals, but as a whole, our scores have not reflected that for a long time. And I cannot look in the eyes of these students and say, we're not going to stabilize our teacher force by trying to get more teachers to stay, higher pay for at least 3 years. We need to have teachers staying. We need to not have a huge turnover. We need to have teachers that can reach students by having smaller class sizes. Do we have any guarantees? No, absolutely none. Just like there's no guarantees that anything will change if we do absolutely nothing. I am one of those people that come from a business that has had to take a lot of risks. And one of the things that I just noticed, I was thinking about us trying to build an optical lab just recently. And I'm thinking, my goodness sakes, the amount of changes that we have had to make and adjustments we've had to do is part of the process of building something better and something new. So for me, I don't look with skepticism or even conspiracy that anybody is trying to do something that isn't for the best of this district. I didn't sign up here to make you miserable. I didn't sign up to make our students less able to learn. I didn't sign up to, obviously have these huge controversies. I signed up to do the very best I could for the students that are in front of me. And I do not feel that I would be doing the best for our students to keep them in the same situation and expect a different result for their outcomes and for their learning abilities. I appreciate those of you who have been in teaching a long time and say, I've wrapped my arms around these kids. I could take 30 of them. And I've heard you say that. And I understand. Gotcha. But it's not sustainable for most teachers. And what we have to understand is it's not just about Hawthorne right now. This is about an entire district that is going to have to make big adjustments. And this is the very start with the highest population and the highest need, with the newest elementary building within blocks of that other school. That's really the reality of what and why. The how, no, we weren't perfect in doing this, but no plan that has a lot of moving parts can stay the same, can be presented perfectly each week. There are changes. One meeting I went to recently with you guys, probably the last of the meetings that I went to where the staff was there, I said that one of the things about change is that you have to understand it's not ingenuous, it's that we're actually listening, and some of the changes needed to be made based on some of the comments that have been made. And so, I'm not actually in a debate.
We're not taking public comment right now, so
debate.
if you guys could please let Babette finish.
So regardless of how hard this is, regardless of, I'm not here to make people, have groupies cheer for me. That's not my goal. My goal is to do right by these students. And I will do right by these students tonight. It may not be right for a while until we can get everybody organized and everybody knows where they're going. But I will vote yes tonight because I can't look into the eyes of these students and do nothing different. And that's okay.
That's okay. Do any of the other board members have comment?
Yeah.
You guys speak into the microphone.
This is a decision that when you become a member of this board, it's a decision that, conceptually is there, but it's something that you never want to do. And, I know that the time frame of this decision seems truncated and very short from your perspective. We've had discussions internally with questions that have been brought to us from the prior meetings. I've had numerous conversations with Ann, and what Ann said tonight is, a lot of things is very spot on. We were not perfect, and the administration was not perfect in this rollout. This board and administration can do better. We need to learn from this, and we will, do better. But at the end of the day, what drives every decision that I make are the students of the school district, and how the decision that I vote yes for or I vote no for is going to impact those students and their family. And the driving factor, is the academic achievement and growth of the students. So they are prepared for life or to go to college and to be the best person they can possibly be. And this decision, I wish, was not the only option right now on the table. We know a couple things, and I'm very logical in the way that I go about trying to analyze and work through a process. And there's two things that are very apparent, and Ann spoke to those, is we have a staffing shortage. And I think we can all agree that in order to have academic growth and achievement, we need to have a consistent teacher in the classroom to teach. There was one of the people who spoke tonight that said that there hasn't been a teacher in the classroom for the last 2 days. I think we can agree that is not conducive to learning. So we have to have teachers, which we do not have right now. We need a solution for that. The problem existed prior to this. And so there's not another solution to the teacher shortage. And because we have a teacher shortage, we have classroom sizes at both Hawthorne and Roosevelt. We have class sizes that are 30 plus. And again, I think we can all agree that that is not conducive.
Can we please stop the public comment? You guys had a chance to talk, so if you could please let Troy finish, I would really appreciate it. At the end of the board meeting, you will have 3 minutes, but right now is board discussion.
So having those large class sizes makes it very difficult for teachers to educate. And I think you could ask them and they would agree. This move, although it's one that I don't welcome, ever closing a school. I've heard stories about Hawthorne that I've never heard before. The emotions tied to it, and I understand everybody doesn't, no one likes change. But what this decision does is addresses those two needs and puts those students, and there's no guarantees for anything, but puts those students in the best opportunity to grow academically and to achieve academically. If we do nothing, the process continues to be what it is today. I can't allow that to happen. I have colleagues on this board that want to wait until a feasibility study is concluded. Again, logically to me, that makes a lot of sense. But the problem with that for me is if we wait into 2023, we continue to have classrooms that are not staffed with teachers, we continue to have classroom sizes that are not conducive for education, and who are we doing a disservice to? We're doing a disservice to the students. And that would continue. So I cannot wait for all those to come through in a year to where this decision would make sense, because ultimately, and you've addressed the issue, we have, a district that has 14,000 plus in capacity, and we have 17,000 in capacity, and they have 11,000 students. That is a problem. That needs to be addressed. I don't think this will be the first school that's going to be closed. But my decision is one that I don't take lightly. It's a decision that addresses the two issues for these particular students in the near term. And therefore, I'm going to vote yes tonight.
I just want to touch base real quick. So one of the comments, there are members on the board that want to wait for the RFP as one of our reasons. But the other reason I just want to make clear is that in the future, whatever happens, it is imperative that we meet at the table with those involved.
I don't.
And that, yes. I just want to make sure, I'm not on a pause just for an RFP. I'm on a pause because the largest demographic that is being affected by this did not have an equal voice in this, and that's my problem. And I'm not trying to poke the bear with you. I just want to make sure that it's just very clear that the RFP is not the only reason that I'm voting no.
Fair enough.
Well, I just want to add, I agree with a lot of what my counterparts have said. What's important to me is what's best for the students. That's always going to be a priority. And being an educator myself, I know that good education can happen if you have too many kids in the classroom. This decision is difficult. I've done my best to engage with as many stakeholders as possible, attend as many meetings with leadership, go out and be with the schools and talk to staff. And at the end of the day, my decision is going to be based on what's best for the students. It's easy to sit on the sidelines and critique what people are doing who are actually engaged. The hard part is coming together, looking for solutions, working together, being collaborative. It's not always what happens, it's how you respond to what happens. And now is our time to come together and find a solution that works long-term, that's good for the students, the community, and the families long-term, that is not one-sided, that's fair and that's balanced. And so that's what my decision will be based on. All of those things and ultimately what's best for the students. Is there any other comments from the board? All in favor?
Aye. Can we please have a roll call vote?
Sure.
Aye.
No.
So Troy Scott.
Aye.
Doug Weaver.
No.
Who's next door? Okay. Ann? Yes. Kelly?
No.
Babette? Yes. Rocky?
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes. The next agenda item is from Doug Thorne.
Thank you. This evening, the administration is presenting for consideration attendance boundary changes for the following elementary schools: Beardsley, Mary Beck, Mary Daly, Hawthorne, Munger, Riverview, and Roosevelt. The proposed boundary changes were provided to board members in their packet for the March 22nd meeting, and a presentation of the maps for both the old and new attendance boundaries was made during the board's March 31st work session. The proposed changes are the result of the board action to convert Hawthorne from a traditional K-6 elementary building into a location for the delivery of pre-K educational programming for children. The proposed boundary changes also revise the attendance areas for both Elkhart High School and the Elkhart High School freshman division resulting from the merger of Elkhart Memorial and Central High School. As it's an administrative regulation, doesn't require a board vote, but I'd be happy to hear any board thoughts regarding the proposed boundary changes.
Is there any discussion from the board?
What,
What's the question?
why is it not a vote?
Because it's an administrative regulation, historically, the board has not voted on administrative regulation.
Okay.
If you're ready, I can move on. In terms of some other proposed policy changes, the administration is proposing revisions to the salary schedule for the executive assistants employee group. That's, oops, I almost knocked this off. 3422.07S. We are recommending the elimination of the position of the executive assistant to the assistant superintendent for student services. The incumbent in this position has retired, and the successor has been classified as a Class 5 secretary in the secretarial business employee group. The administration is recommending waiver of second reading as to this policy.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. In addition, the administration is presenting proposed revisions to the employees and miscellaneous positions compensation plan, which is board policy 3422.12S. We are recommending the creation of position of supervisor for food service truck drivers, elimination of a position for an assistant site coordinator for 21st Century Community Learning Center, title changes for federally funded after-school programs, along with rate changes for these programs will bring the compensation for those positions in line with federal grants, and elimination of the position of the campus life coordinator. The positions that are proposed for elimination are presently vacant, and the employees in our after-school programs have been paid according to the terms set forth in various federal grants rather than the policy. So we're actually looking to make sure that we bring our policy in line with the grants that have been submitted to the board and approved by the board. Seeking your approval of those policy changes and asking that you waive second reading as to that particular.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Quick question. Currently, these are funded differently?
They have always been, 21st Century Program has always been funded by state grants that are flow-throughs, but obviously that encompasses other federal grants, for example, ESSER grants that are funding some of these positions. So we just want to make sure that the scope was a little bit clearer, that this is for any after-school program that's funded by a federal grant.
All right, thank you.
Is there any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Dr. Shepherd.
The administration presents a proposed revision to the 2021-2022 calendar, and that one revision is to move the kindergarten kickoff day from April 14 to May 17. And the reason for us asking for this revision is in order to give time for incoming kindergartners to actually know which school they will be attending. So we are seeking your approval on this request.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Jason?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Based on current enrollment, our district qualifies for a low-interest common school fund loan in the amount of $1,130,835. The business office seeks board approval to use these funds to make technology purchases not available through other sources of revenue.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I'm looking forward.
Jason, what is the life of these?
Yeah, the term.
4 years.
4 years?
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
That's pretty common with the school districts with the one-to-one programs.
And what do we do with them at the end of 4 years?
At the end of 4 years, we solicit bids for companies to purchase them, and then we use those funds to purchase chargers and other devices.
Replacement parts?
Replacement parts, that kind of
Okay.
stuff. It's worked out really well.
Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
The administration is presenting a conflict of interest disclosure for Leslie Carruthers Woods, who has recently been employed as the Assistant Director of Human Resources. And we're describing the conflict is that her husband, Mark Wood, is also employed by Elkhart Community Schools. And in her role as being the Assistant Director of Human Resources, she may be involved in discussions related to compensation for support staff. And her husband is a member of our district support staff, and we're asking that the board take action to accept that conflict disclosure.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
This is the annual disclosure?
Well,
The timing?
Leslie has just been employed. Typically, we do the administration disclosures in January, but given that we have a new employee, we thought it was appropriate to make this disclosure at this point in time.
Thanks.
Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Motion passes. So we will have the public comment. When you come up to the mic, state your name and your relationship to the district. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. If you are speaking about a bullying situation, we ask that you don't say details or students' names to protect the privacy of those students involved. Is Claire Hadley here? No, you don't want to speak, Claire? Marcella Aguilar? Marcella? Nicole Ball?
All right, you just said my name, Nicole Ball. Told you would get to know me. I'm Rio's mom. At first, I decided not to say anything. And then, well, now 3 hours ago, I wrote a whole speech out, set it on the table, knew I was going to forget it. Forgot it. So I figured that meant I wasn't supposed to speak tonight until you started speaking at the beginning. I really hope that everything you said, Dr. T, is true. And that everything you said that you're now going to do, because I think we can agree that wasn't done before. And in most of my speech that I wrote, and after everything and everyone said tonight, my whole thing was about communication and the absolute complete lack of it in this school system. The communication is key in any relationship, whether it is spousal, your family, your friends, or teachers to parents, and administration to parents. Our children are in these schools. I don't think you understand. Mama Bear is an understatement right now. I passed Bear and went to Dragon real quick. And I really hope that everything you said is what you do, because those huge losses that you were just talking about, it takes all these huge things, was my daughter's death. And I don't think, even watching you now, watching these people at these tables, even up there with you, even though we could be in the admin building on the same level, you have to elevate yourself to us. We should be on the same team. Why we're not and where that got lost, I have no idea. No idea. And I really wanted to come up here with grace and try not to breathe too much fire. But after hearing what you had to say, and it warmed my broken heart a little bit, but then we have to hear these families who had no idea what was going on in their district after it's too late because you were on vacation. And then I watch you up here while people are pouring their hearts out, and you can't look them in the eye. Some of you're just, body language says a lot, and I've watched a lot. I've watched that last meeting that I spoke at last time when you wouldn't look at me and watch the body language, and I was disgusted. Not by everybody, because I promise not everybody is a bad guy. And until y'all realize that, we need to work together for these children, for our children. But most of all, for Rio.
Michelle Ivy.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Michelle Ivy, Elkhart, Indiana. I work for the school system. And I'm not here about the school closing or the family or Rainbow. I am here to talk about transportation. I work for the transportation department. I'm a bus driver. This is my 19th school year, and I'm still very proud of my community and my school system. I have 71 elementary students on my school bus every day. 30 in a classroom is a lot. 71 on a bus is ridiculous. All of our buses are full. We're short people, but every single person at transportation steps up. We help, we cover. What I'm asking is, can we make a communication between our parents and transportation and our board when we have shortages? We have buses late half an hour, buses late an hour, a bus broke down, that we can have a communication in our social media, letting them know what's going on at transportation. We become vilified as drivers because we can't communicate with our people because we're driving. Currently, I drive for Mary Feeser, and many great things are happening on the north side of town, and I'm proud of every teacher, every para, the custodians, everybody. We work hard together. They're short too. Every bus at Mary Feeser is full. That's 3 to every seat on my bus. My high school and junior high are 2 and 3 to every seat. I can handle that. I got that. That's no big deal. The gum on the seats, not too much, but I'm proud of Feeser because this year my school bus pranked the principal. She hates April Fools, and we know that, but we got her good this year and we had fun. I requested staff come to the bus at 7:12 a.m. She comes out there storming, and I told her, these kids are ridiculous. I can't teach, I can't drive, I don't want to do this anymore. I gave her my keys, said, you take care of these kids, I'm done. And the kids were smiling because they knew it was a joke. We had all this planned. And she starts reaming them, what are you smiling about? Ah, you know, and then I said, I just can't do this anymore. And we had a cue. I said, what do you guys have to say for yourselves? And they all said, April Fools. Her whole day just got better. And all day long, each kid knew that they got it on that principle. They had a good day all day, high-fiving. And she saw the love that the drivers have for those kids every day, all day. And I'm just proud of a lot of what's going on, but we do need to do some changes. We need to heal. But we got a lot of people supporting the school system and very proud of this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Dawn?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Dawn Surface. I live in Elkhart County. I raised 2 daughters in this school system. Now I have grandchildren. I'm the Nana to Lily, Rio's best friend. And I'm here tonight to confront you all. Y'all know that the Elkhart community system has a grade of a C. What do you think we grade you? Failing. Dr. T, you just inherited a big mess. So I'm not gonna cut you much slack because the smoke that you're blowing is BS. We have had a no bullying policy in place for how many years? And so this new one is gonna mean what to us? What? Same old, same old. Responsibilities all the way down from principals. Actually, it says any teacher, administrator, or person in a school who observes bullying behavior is a mandatory reporting, just like child abuse. And you let them all down. All of them. I'm sorry. You might remember me from the chant, Dr. T, at Northside. I'm trying not to go there. But this is from my soul. And thank you for acknowledging the shortcomings. So true. Mr. Weaver, you actually shortened up my speech quite a bit by citing the statistics and the things that were not being done correctly.
You're welcome.
Three of you are up for re-election in November. What are we going to do about that? Unlike a corporation, we hold the power now. We put you there, and we can take you out. Step up. Do something besides blowing hot air. I don't even need the rest of my 3 minutes. I beg you, do something. Because that sign that says no bullying, see something, say something, it's been on that door so long, it's almost worn off, and it's meant nothing. Make it mean something.
Shelby?
I'm gonna keep the fire going. Don't start my timer yet until I got all your undivided attention. Because we didn't get that last time. We're gonna get it today. So, if you recall, on March 17th, Thalheimer, you spoke with a reporter, and I quote, anytime a young person's life is cut short, it's a tragedy. And you're sorry for the family and you extend your condolences. Now, here's what floored me. You went on to say all we can wish for is for them to find peace and move forward. Really? Find peace, move forward. When you say them, you're referring to Rio's family, Isabella's family, Ryan's family. You said find peace and move forward. I know you can't answer or won't answer, whatever it may be, but I'm going to ask anyway. Would you be able to move forward? Would you be able to find peace? All these, I'll answer these for you. You wouldn't. Had it been your own, we all know the outcome and circumstances would be different. Rio and all the students that we're here representing and will not stop representing deserve the same proper and equal treatment. You hear me? Do you? No? Okay. Would you have peace knowing that someone such as yourself represents our school system? The words find peace and move forward might have been easy for you to say to a camera, but I bet you can't look at the family behind me and tell them that, or any family for that matter. I'm disgusted. I was gonna come here and be peaceful and respectful, but we haven't gotten that same treatment. Let me remind you of the ones we've lost and their names. Rio Allred, 12, Northside. Isabella Torres, 12. Mary Daly. Ryan Marshall, Riverview Elementary. Now, 2 of the 3 names I just mentioned, Rio and Isabella, have taken place since you took your role as superintendent in 2019. What does that say? Not a whole lot. So what are you going to do different so it's not another child taken from us under your role as the one we're supposed to trust to do the right thing? If this happened to any of you who I'm looking at right now, all of you would have done better. So why should it be any different now? Rio was a child to all of us. And that's why we are here, to make sure that you do not forget. You all still remain and are still not doing better, and it shows. You'll see me again at the next board meeting with the other half of my message. Also, in regards to the last meeting regarding Hawthorne, I was in shock to hear how the president represented herself towards Doug Weaver. If you know, you know. If you were here or if you watched it, you know. But that showed all of us your true color. Doug, I'm personally sorry that you were spoken to that way.
Jessica?
I'm Jessie Yost, and I have 1 kid in the school system and 3 coming up. First, I want to start with our See Something, Say Something policy on bullying. Mrs. Bowling, referring to your colleague, Mrs. Mullins, support people as groupies is bullying. I just want to make that very clear.
I do.
No, it's too late for apologies. I have 240.
I apologize.
This is her agreement, it's not yours.
You betcha. You betcha. But I do
I
apologize.
am here to address the lack of protocol on bullying and child mental health. Many people are looking at the what to do's after bullying takes place, but I'm wanting to grab hold before the bully acts out. Middle-aged school children are most likely to commit suicide. It's also the group going through puberty and hormone flux while also getting blended with kids from multiple elementaries that they have never met before. There is no secret that mental health is prevailing in the U.S. I myself know more people who have or deal with anxiety, depression, or any type of generalized mood disorders than who don't. But our generation was never educated through that. I'll say that word again, educated. Education is supposed to take place in schools. Public schools are supposed to round us off for real life, and at this time, learning about mental health and coping mechanisms to go with it is the most important thing we can teach the people of our future. Why not start required educational courses on basic psychology and sociology in middle school? I'm not talking a 1-week small breakdown in a history class, but a full course like it is offered at the high school. I think students would benefit in taking a semester of each course within the 2 middle school years. We should also require a health class that goes over common childhood diseases and what those diseases can look like starting as early as elementary level. Children have the capacity to learn about diversity and inclusion and compassion from toddlerhood, so elementary level is not barbaric to introduce childhood health obstacles. I believe that all students 7th through 12th grade should be required to meet with their counselors 12 times within the 6 years, 1 session per semester at a minimum of 15 minutes. If the students don't have anything to share, counselors can use that time to educate them on signs of poor mental health and ideas on how to cope or get help. With aiding in educational courses and one-on-one counseling time, we are helping both the bully and the bullied. I know funding is a word that stops everything in its tracks, but I hear plenty of boasting about the school's infrastructure. Walls don't mean much if kids are dying before they make it to the building.
Taylor?
probably about 12 years now. I'm here out of parent guilt.
We can't hear.
My son told me at the beginning of the year that he was being bullied. I didn't believe him. I said, you know, and just go to school, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. It wasn't. 8 months later, my friend loses her daughter to a staff and administration who have no idea who they even are. Could you tell us what our kids are like? We can tell you what you are like. Can you tell us about our future? Yes, but that's not fair. How is that fair? You guys sit there and you guys play God. Like your decision is all holy, but we're the ones out here fucking suffering. We're the ones out here doing it. You're not the ones listening to your kid who have something way heavy on them. They are a child. You know, I witnessed myself. The secretary of the North Side, terrible, okay? I'm there waiting for my son, and they're mocking children who are asking for a tardy pass. They didn't want to get in trouble. Preventative, I thought that was pretty good. But as they talk to them, those children, I realized that it's not just the kids that are bullying. It's not. It's the teachers that are watching it. It's the teachers that are also doing it with them. It's the administrators who sit there and they listen to everything that we have to say and then they put it on a desk. It collects dust. It just keeps growing and growing and growing. You guys put the same exact procedures out here with different colors to make it look bright, like it's shiny, like it's new. Yes. Yet it's the same thing that it was years ago and it is now. 7 children since I've been out of middle school, 15 years, 7 children altogether have killed themselves. Because you guys lack the basics. You guys are responsible for our children while we are not around. You guys are to educate them and to be there for them. Show them the way. Have an honorable and a just career, right? Why waste our time? Someone said it earlier. We chose you guys to have your positions. It's, in some way, we had a big part in that. There are more of us than there are of you.
Yep. Oh, that more.
Remember that. Man, I love all you guys, dude. Samara, what's up, man? This group, I haven't seen for so long. But my son was in band with Rio. I had no idea how intertwined our lives were. You guys have no idea either. None. You sit here and you throw out these statistics and you say everything and you do. And I had the perfect freaking speech for this. There you go again, throwing bullshit. We're tired of it. Do something about it now, or us parents, we can walk into the school and we'll do something about it ourselves. There's more of us than there are of you. What are you gonna do?
Pull them all out.
Jason,
You spoke earlier.
did you want to speak again or not?
Yeah, go ahead, start the timer. I'm very concerned for the city and the school board and the school community and the school system in general at this point after having attended this meeting now. Quite frankly, we've got this incredible movement over here. It's amazing, for real. And over here, I mean, it's everywhere. We've got dropping enrollment. We've got a bullying system that, although audited by your insurance company, is still insufficient. We've got board members denigrating the community who's trying to involve themselves in the concerns, actions, and decisions concerning Hawthorne. And what are we trying to do here? Implode on purpose? Is that the goal? Because that's what this feels like. This feels like an implosion to me. This feels like the processes, as Mr. Weaver stated, weren't carried out effectively and efficiently and probably against open door state law policies. Now you're open to litigation. We've got to do better than this. That's all I got to say. Across the spectrum, we've got to do better than this. Come on.
Crystal? Oh, they're coming.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Cut down. Hi, this is Christopher. Is in the 9th grade. When Christopher attended Northside, his pants were pulled down in the lunchroom. It happened again beginning of the 9th grade. And I was trying to file charges, and I was told it was a game that they played. And it exposed all his everywhere. He begged me not to send him to school. We did withdraw Christopher from school. Christopher is in K-12, and even with his disabilities he suffers from, he's still struggling. I can't get the academic help that I need for him. He's failing. I'm supposed to be working with Tony England on placement, but I don't even know what that placement's gonna look like for next year at this time. Due to bullying, Christopher is not got the proper schooling he needs for his faith. So, do you have anything to say, Chris? How's that affected you?
Do you trust them to have your back?
No, he was supposed to have a para, and the second time, his para did not walk him to the lunchroom, and that's when the student, after several altercations of bullying, was reported with the principal at Elkhart East, and the para failed to take him down to the lunchroom, and that's when they pulled his pants down the second time. Yes, all it was suspension.
So vacation. Did that make it all the way to the top of the?
No, nothing was done.
Sexual assault.
Nothing else was done. That was it.
Failure.
And his privates were exposed. He begged me not to go back to school, begged me, and cried. This is a child that's got epileptic seizures. He has autism. He also has got multiple mood disorders due to his seizures. He does have an IEP. And his parent did not, did not walk him down to class for lunch that day, and they pulled his pants down. And her name was Miss Billings.
Elkhart Community Schools is committed to.
But even with the K-12, he's still not getting education. And now he's tried to hang himself because of why? I have pictures of him being in a hospital because of he's depressed from being at home.
You guys robbed him of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're fighting with you, okay? If you need any of the parents' names that you see.
Do you hear us now?
Or do we need to keep talking? Because we will. You make me not want to send my 5-year-old with autism. Your building makes me sick. We pay for you guys, and this is what we get.
Been reading the handbook for days and all of this, your philosophy statement and how you stand behind your students and what they're gonna learn, what they need to learn. Life skills.
I'm writing down this parent's name so that I can reach back out to her.
Finally, make sure you do it.
Don't.
Dr. Tolheimer, do you want to?
No.
I'm sorry, I didn't have the time to write my name. Can I speak? I was saying, may I speak? Write your name.
Go ahead.
We can go still have names.
Okay. I really want to talk from the bottom of my heart. Probably you don't know my culture, the Hispanic culture, which, by the way, is the culture that you are hurting the most. 64% Hispanic. That's what you're hurting with this decision. And then I'm not going to talk again about Hawthorne because, as you see, people left. The Hispanic left. So we're talking about bullying now. And how are you going to control the bullying if you are bullying us? How are you going to start doing that if you are by not listening to us, by not giving us the chance? See, I see you guys, or I don't know, forgive me if I'm mistaken. I see your faces that are what you want again, right? Yeah. But I think it's your duty to listen to us. You know, I understand that you're saying that you don't want to look in the kids' eyes in the future. But I wonder, what do you do if Mr. Weaver already read all those issues that you fail in the compliance with whatever manual you have there? So that's where the bullying starts, because you don't even follow anything. So how can we trust you as a community? And I'm saying this with all due respect because you have all the documentation there, right? So I understand your concern. I think it's Babette about how are you going to look in the kids' eyes? How are you going to look in your eyes every morning if you do this to the school? You're not helping anybody. And what I see, this is kind of, and I wish I can do more. I can help more. Because as a Hispanic, that's what I'm talking about. We came to this country for the American dream. We were escaping all of this in our countries. We needed to be heard. And here we are, with a board that don't even want to listen to us. So thank you very much, and I'm sorry this is happening. This is really embarrassing.
I think my name is in the paper too, and I don't hear my name. One of my papers? One of the papers, sir?
What was your name? I read all the papers I had.
Maricela Aguilar. Oh, she called her.
Oh, okay, we thought you left. I'm sorry. It's long. We all had to go.
Go ahead, I found your paper.
Okay, the first thing I want to say, sorry guys, you embarrass me. That's why I understand now when I report a teacher for bullying. Now I understand why you guys don't do anything with that teacher. I want to say too, please don't say you do the best for the kids because you don't know the kids. The teachers passing 6 hours every day, Monday through Friday, with the kids, and the parents pass the rest of the day. So we know what is the best for the kids. You think the emotions and everything, we're talking about the emotions. No, we're talking about what is the best for the kids. And sorry for you, you treat the kids like it's another transaction you do in your business. Sorry, your words is, you don't, you must not be there. And now, I want to say, next time to vote for somebody to be there, we need to be careful and check. And for me, I'm proud of you, Miss Weber. Yeah, thank you for take the time to check all the stuff they don't do right and tell them. For you two guys and you, thank you for take the time and listen to the people and check what is good for the kids. But you guys, sorry for you. Next time I vote, I'm gonna check first and take out all the people. They have bullying. They show the bullying to the teachers. Because you can fix this problem with the teachers. It's easy fix. You found the problem why you don't have teachers in the school? You don't take the time to ask the teachers. Pay more, give it a good insurance and everything. And I know
I make sure you have enough teachers in the schools.
Jordan?
Uh-oh. Hi, yeah. I'm Jordan. So actually, this is just really quick and small, other than the fact, I hope you guys know that Rio has a little sister, so you guys are probably going to put up with hearing us for a long time. And well, if she stays in Elkhart Community Schools, we don't know at this point. My only thing is, did we just discuss about doing a calendar change, right? That was brought up for kindergarten kickoff. That was just spoke about how it's changed, but this is pretty much how much I trust the school system. On Sunday night, I went online because my calendar at home says April 14th, kindergarten roundup, whatever it's called, and I hadn't got any information on it. So I went to the website and it says now May whatever date. So why do we even come to these things when it's already been agreed on through the administration's already been posted? Literally, I screenshot it, posted on Sunday that it was already on the damn thing. So why are we even here talking about it to bring it up for this, ask you guys? Like, what's the point of that?
It's a lack of communication.
It's a lack of communication, but why does it even need to be brought up to them? That, hey, we want to propose this change. But by the way, we've already posted the change online without getting consent or any information first. That's just, again, the whole lack of anything is just absolutely astonishing. It's just ridiculous. And the whole transportation, shout out to her because transportation sucks for sure right now for everyone. So with you're going to shut down Hawthorne. What the hell are you doing with all those kids? Where are they busing? Because now we already don't have buses. What are we going to do now? Be 6 more hours late to school? Yeah. Who knows? But that's really all I have to say. But that's my trustworthy of the school system. Let's, go ahead and change the damn date, post it online, and then ask for permission. Yep. Whatever. It's just.
Brittany?
My name's Brittany. I wasn't going to speak tonight, but I'm here. I don't have any kids in the district, and let me tell you right now, hearing everything that's going on, I am so glad I don't have kids, and I'm so glad I don't have kids in this district, because I have been let down by this district. Now, there's a few of you, Kelly, Mr. Weaver, thank you guys. I talked to you guys after the last meeting that we were at, and I appreciate both of you. I know you're not all bad guys, but, yep. I'm really disappointed hearing the things that I heard tonight. You guys talk all this talk about, anti-bullying policies and doing what's best for the kids, but, like a couple other parents have said, you're taking all these kids from Hawthorne and putting them in other classrooms where these teachers are already overwhelmed. So now you're going to overwhelm them more with more kids coming in, and the transportation, these kids are already sitting 3 kids to a seat on these buses. How do you expect them to fit more kids on these buses? I don't understand. I don't get it. Dr. T, you talked about these safe teams inside the schools that are going to be put into place. What's your screening policy for these people? How do we know that those people that you're putting on those teams are not the wolves in sheep's clothing that we know are walking those hallways? How do we know it's not the bad administration going onto those teams? I don't understand that. I've said it once, I've said it a couple times, I'm disappointed. I don't see a lot of sympathy or an ounce of regret on a lot of your guys' faces. And that hurts me as someone who has no kids, let alone this mother who lost her child. I don't understand. And I'm an educator myself. I don't work in the schools. I'm not a K through 12 educator. I work with children with autism. And after hearing this mother speak about her child with special needs that was bullied at school and nothing was done about it, I am terrified for the kids that I work with every day to go into these schools, because I know that some of them are going into the Elkhart schools, and it terrifies me to let these kids go out of my care.
do better.
Lillian?
Hi, my name is Lily Ann Dolph, ma'am. So we were talking about bullying. I'm switching the subject over a little. We're going to be talking about mental health today. Cool? Yeah. As a student in the Elkhart Community Schools, I feel that it is needed that we have more attention put into that subject instead of what are we learning today? How are bullying things being prevented, which is obviously like a really good subject. We need to know how these are being prevented, which normally they're not. However, I personally, with recent events, probably don't have the best mental health, and that should be looked into and taken care of a little more responsibly. Yeah. I wasn't planning on speaking today. Actually, I wasn't planning on speaking ever. Talking in front of people is not fun. If you can't tell, I'm shaking. Thank you. But once again, I think that we should I don't remember who suggested it, but whoever suggested having talks with the social workers at least once this semester. You, thank you, mad respect. We need that. We need that a lot. Yeah. Thank you, yes. We need more people like Mr. Weaver and I didn't catch your name, Mullins? Yeah, okay. Kelly and Mr. Weaver, you two, we need more of you two. Can you figure out how to clone yourselves, because we need that.
But we're flawed. We're not perfect. We're flawed too.
So are
Yeah, but you're still amazing.
You own that. You own that. That's humble. That's being humble.
Coming straight from the word of a child of your school system.
Rio's best friend.
Yep.
Rio's best friend.
Thank you for most of you hold on. Thank you for most of you giving me your attention. I will sit back down now.
Jessica?
Hi, my name is Jessica Owings. I go by Jessie. I don't speak in front of large crowds either. You guys were right. This is kind of hard.
Yeah, it sucks. Especially when they're up there.
Yeah.
I don't think I have much to say that everybody here has not already said. I have a few questions though. Why do the teachers not want to teach? Why do we not have bus drivers? Why do we not have policies against bullying that are actually being taken seriously until now?
Yes.
But they're not taken seriously at all. My next set of questions is, how do we help us get our teachers back? How do we help you get our bus drivers back? We're asking you guys for your help to help us because you guys look just as lost as we are. I have a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old, and I am so scared for them all the time. I am a weird person. I teach weird things to my kids. I don't want them to be made fun of for that. I do the slug bug game, and what's that? We do hugs. Other families don't do that. They look upon us weirdly for it. But I don't want them to be bullied for that. I don't want them to be bullied for being unique or being themselves or being playful. I don't want our teachers to be stressed out when I know they care. I remain in constant contact with both of my kids as teachers. They are wonderful. They keep me posted, but they are stressed and they are just as scared as we are. How can I help them? Tell us how we can help them. Is it money? Do we need to fundraise? Because this group, I swear this group.
We got some fundraising.
They know what they're doing, even though we don't know what we're doing.
Don't know what we're doing, but we're doing it.
We are winging it every single day. I don't know what else to say. Just, we are here. Use us. We want to help in every way that we can. Our kids are our future. Our kids are your future. Your kids are our future.
Yeah.
We want to help just as bad as you guys do. You say you want to help us. You say you want to help these kids. Nobody wants to help these kids more than us.
That's for sure.
We want to do everything that we can. We want to raise that money. We want to help you hire teachers. We want to help you find bus drivers. Tell us how. Lead the way. We are following you. Lead.
Yeah.
Alex?
How's it going? I've got 2 kids in your school district. As far as your transportation is concerned, you guys understand that 15-minute drive right behind you, there is a National Guard armory that does transportation. They literally have soldiers behind you. I know them. I worked with many of them who have done everything from Class A driving all the way to buses, grenades, whatever. I think they can manage a couple of kids on a bus. But I also guarantee that there's not a single application or anything like that on that board in there, because I can check tomorrow. As far as the communication that I wanted to speak on, the last time I spoke, we were not in such a nice room. We were in a little closet, if you remember. So good change as far as getting people here and getting them involved. Tragic circumstances, I do apologize for that. But at least she was being heard.
I hope she is.
Excuse me, active shooter threat that you guys thought was not important enough to tell us as parents. We found out about it through the news. I also found out maybe, a couple of weeks ago that there was a student who pulled a knife on another student. We found out through social media again.
Her parents weren't even called.
Right, so insanity is repeating the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. So my suggestion is, number one, stop doing things the same way, because you're going to get the same result, because I'm here again. Last time I called for your resignation. Now there's a petition for it, I guess, online. So I would really think about what you guys do and how you go about it. Thank you.
Tony?
She's worse.
I'm gonna be nice.
I was going to too.
I'm basically just want to talk about IEPs. I have 2 children that go to Northside Middle School. This is their first year. I was told that they would have an introduction meeting where we would meet the IEP. That never happened. I did sympathize with the school. I know that everybody is way understaffed. So at the time, I was not happy with my current job. And I have a friend who is an IEP teacher for Concord Schools. She suggested that maybe I look into the school. I thought, why not? I would love to have my summers off. I would love to have my vacation time. It would be great. The school is also struggling, so I could get involved with my kids' school. So while doing that, I decided to go ahead and look online, Elkhart Community Schools, to see what qualifications I needed, what the pay rate was. I have the college credits, okay? The only thing I can't do and I can't have is the pay. I have 2 children. I have a husband, mortgage, car payments, okay? Now I've taken another job that forces me to work 8 to 5. So as much as I would love to volunteer and help at the school, I am at work during school hours. The only thing I can suggest is maybe, I know funds are tight, but unfortunately with the pay rate, you make it really hard for people to make a living wage. In this day when gas is over $4, you know, sometimes $3 a gallon, people cannot afford that. So that's basically what I wanted to say. I do also want to give my condolences to you. My son was friends with your daughter, so. But yeah, so that's what I would like to say. I would love to help out in the school. I would actually love to work for the school. Unfortunately, my financial situation, I can't afford it. I can't afford to take the pay cut. I know, you know, I also looked at Concord School District because my friend is the para over there. They pay $2 more an hour there. And I'm not trying to, you know, put apples to apples because I realize you guys are not the same district. But if I was going to do that, which would look more appealing to me? I've got to support my family. I want to support the school. I want to help the school. But the school needs to help me support my family so that way I can help you.
Georgie?
Hi, I'm Georgie. I had a little lovely lady over here whispered into my ear that we are not the only groupies. There's probably more now, but there at the time was 14.5 billion other groupies. But that's not what I came up here to talk about. I can't.
0.5 billion. Nothing. Billion.
I can't believe that you have done anything in the last 4 weeks to prevent or help with bullying, because I know a parent, and I'm very close to their son who attends Elkhart High, and just maybe 2 weeks ago in a classroom there was an incident where a teacher said to a student with a stutter, spit it out in front of the entire classroom and let the other students laugh at them. And then the kid who stood up for that student ended up in handcuffs in the office. That's all I have to say.
Does the board have any final comments before we end the meeting? Meeting adjourned.